So we're here with Amanda Sorenson, a drift racer, team owner, and a major influencer. When I found this out, I was surprised, but it's an interesting aspect of the sport. So drifting, obviously, the tires are spinning. This is not about keeping them, secure to the track like you would in NASCAR or other things. You are using the horsepower in that vehicle to spin those tires and help you drift around the corners. Tell me about the tires. Tell me about what happens with the tires. You mentioned a minute ago before we started the interview, and I'd love to hear about this too as you're talking about the tires, how long they last and the differences. There's a European difference versus here. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so in drifting, believe it or not, you look at drifting and you see this tire smoke and you see the wheels turning, and we are pushing these cars to the absolute very last potential of control. We are pushing this car so far to the limits that we're driving on that 5% of being in control and not being in control. You have your 4 contact patches that are about the size of my palm that are actually controlling your car. And that's the tire contact patch to the ground. So, we could be traveling at 100 miles an hour, but our wheels are actually spinning at 150 miles an hour. And you get a lot of this science and data into it, and you get to your wheel slip ratio and how much grip you're actually putting to the ground, how hot the tires are. But we're burning through tires every 2 laps. So the tires that we're running on are a semi-slick tire, which you would be able to put on your road car or drive down the street. And that's for my class at least. With that being said, we're getting 2 laps out of a set of tires. We're going through 40 sets of tires in a weekend. There's different tire compounds, different tire setups that you can have. And, not only that, but you have this form of motorsports here in America and this form of drifting with a certain type of tire. And then overseas, you have a different type of tire where their tires maybe are a little bit more sticky. It's kind of like gum, to where our tires here are a little bit more slick. So we have to rely a lot on momentum. There's not a lot of forgiveness if you make a mistake. Whereas overseas, you have this grippy tire, and as soon as you're off the throttle, the car is gaining traction again because of how much grip's in the tire. But with that, you have brands like Nitto being involved, Toyo Tire, GT Radial, Falcon, and it's so unique to see this drifting community, how the tire manufacturers that make the typical tires for your automotive dailies are coming in and now building specific tires for our drift cars. But not only just building tires for our drift cars, but working with us drift drivers to develop maybe a better tire for a soccer mom minivan. How can we make it last longer? Because here we're putting the tires to the absolute test, whether it be temperature, surface temps, like track temperatures, all of those kind of things. So it's very interesting to see how this drifting industry not only is in its own world, but it's so big in so many ways, where we help the automotive industry in just a day-to-day sort of research and development.
Yeah, interesting. Which I think I started gaining an appreciation for that in some of the F1 and NASCAR, and you see the different manufacturers that are sponsoring that. Yes, there's of course brand building, but it really is about creating an opportunity to learn, and then what can we put in the real world, like you said. Yeah, you mentioned Nitto a minute ago. We did an interview with my son who got a total blacked out F350 Platinum, and just, we walked through everything, and he's got a Nitto tire. It's nothing like the ones you guys are using out here. It's a big, meaty 37, but it's interesting to see how the manufacturers are really, we as just the regular population are benefiting from what's going on in racing and drift and other motorsports. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, even you would see with like automotive manufacturers. Ford, for example, is heavily involved in drifting, and Von Gint Jr., who's one of the drivers, now has this RTR program, and you can buy an RTR Ford Mustang through Ford, which is a fully decked out, potential Ford drift car. It's so sick. How can you push the limits of a stock Toyota motor and put it in a drift car to see what kind of things fail and the life cycle of everything. So it's super cool to see how the drifting industry not only is our competitive sport, but it also gives back to the general population of the research and development side of things to make your guys' things last longer, and we're putting them to the test.
That's awesome. Well, we are also big on the support side. So we know that drivers rely on sponsors and the sponsorships. Tell us a little bit about some of the different sponsors that you have that really stand out and how they've helped you.
Yeah, so my main partner is United States Air Force, which is an amazing opportunity to say that I have the United States Air Force backing my career, as well as Rockstar Energy. And you know, it's crazy because every brand needs some sort of something to help them grow. And what's the next step? For the United States Air Force, they're looking for that brand awareness. They're looking for the automotive people. And it's crazy because as I continue to get opportunities with the Air Force, like maybe changing a tire on a C-17 airplane or going and flying in a jet, to see how similar my day-to-day life is to what they have in the military is actually insane. And what I mean by that is I have a refueler on my car just like how they have a refueler on their jet. I have a crew chief for my car just like they have a crew chief on their jet. I do training and go through intense extreme environments just like their fighter pilots do. And when I sat in the back of an F-16 airplane and we pulled 9Gs, I was like, I thought my job was hard. Like, this is insane. You're flying the aircraft and pulling 9Gs. So there's so many things that go hand in hand, not just as, you know, the driver and relating it to the pilots, but the team, and you know, it's one team, one goal. So it's crazy to see how we're able to work hand in hand to showcase job opportunities within the Air Force that are just like working on a drift team. It's so similar. I'm fortunate to work with Rockstar Energy, and they have an amazing goal that they're going after to be a 50-50 split, male and female, for their athletes by 2027. So we have
Nice.
Frederick Osbo as our male driver and me as the female driver in drifting. But it's cool to see and just work with partners that support me, and I know their name wouldn't be on my suit on the side of the car if they didn't believe in me that I could be on top of the box. So to have the support behind me from brands to just be along for the journey, and you know, it's a roller coaster. It's never just all the way up, but we're making a lot of progress, and I'm super excited to continue working with them and pushing towards our goal.
That's awesome. Well, and it seems like it also makes you, racing is part of what you do. You're really also, you know, my generation calls it the chief cook and bottle washer, but you're also a marketing expert, and you have to be a sponsor expert, and you have to negotiate, and you have to handle logistics, and you have to handle so much. Tell me about that, and is it something you enjoy doing? Is it something that you wish somebody else would take off your plate? But there's a lot to it.
I would have to say motorsports has been the biggest blessing in my life in so many ways, from teaching me discipline, teaching me faith, teaching me so many different things, wearing many different hats, from editing my own videos to wrenching on my own car to organizing logistics for 25 guys to fly from different states across the United States into one place in one weekend, to owning a semi-truck, like all those different things. And motorsports has taught me everything. It's been my biggest blessing in my life because I get to wear many different hats. And I think, you know, that's where I'm saying the vision wasn't very clear in the beginning, but slowly, one by one, I've mastered a few of those skills, and it's benefited me in my career. But I think that there's a point in time where you understand, okay, I have to wear one of these hats, which one's it's gonna be? And I have goals, and my goal is to be the first female in pro. I want to continue to inspire others through my journey, and I feel like it's my life calling, to be honest with you. So that's the role that I've chosen, and I'm definitely honing down in on the driving skills now, because we are one step away from making that history.
That's awesome. That's great. Among all the things you're doing and honing in on the driver, you are an influencer. You have a following, a large following. Tell me about that and how that came to be. Did it really have its increase as you got into motorsports, or did you start going a different direction? And I ask this because there are a lot of people out there, yes, of course, that are interested in motorsports and interested in any athletic experience that women are really starting to make major headways in. But also, there's a lot of people that want to be influencers. And how did you come about it?
I was authentic to myself, and I loved the creative side of things. My social media took off during COVID when I had nothing else to do except for edit videos. And so I started seeing these girls on TikTok, like maybe doing a dancing trend, and I'm like, you know, this is really cool, but I kind of want to put my own spin on it. I feel that this world in this day and age needs a greater influence for positive vibes on the internet. Not only that, but just people that can share their journey and their story. And as a female, I feel that it's very important to share my morals and be morally true to myself and be authentic on the internet, because I feel like we lack that. And with that, I started just sharing my story, whether it was packing to go to Italy for an event or getting suited up and going out on the track, sharing race results. With that, I put a lot of time and effort. I'm very OCD and organized, so don't get me wrong. Like, if you've seen the work that had actually gone into the organization of growing my platforms, I put a lot of time and energy into it. However, I don't think I would have been able to do it. The time and energy would have been a waste if I wasn't authentic to myself.
Yeah.
So I think it's very easy to be a different person and live a different persona online. And I had realized, how can I share my story? How can I bring people along for the journey? How can I highlight the positive sides and the negative sides of what I do and just really inspire others? But I also take into consideration, when I'm at an event, I am touched in so many ways by these young girls coming up to me and saying, oh, I made you a friendship bracelet, or, the parents being like, we only came because she's seen you last year and she has not stopped watching your videos, and so we have to come back. And so we're bringing her, and we love that you just are a great role model. Every piece of content I've made, I keep in mind that, those little girls are watching and the younger boys, and I want them to be able to walk in and be like, oh, if she can do it, then I can do it. And my number one question that I get all the time is, what's it like being a female in a male-dominated industry? Or what's it like being a female in motorsports? And what are the challenges that I face? And I think one of those challenges were when you show up and you pull up to the grid and you're in staging and there's no other females walking around, you really say like, am I meant to be here? I don't really fit in, But I fortunately have had the support around me, and I've had a lot of great opportunities and just people around me, as well as like my brothers and family in Formula Drift, to make me feel very welcome, breaking through and being that person to break through so other females feel welcome was the stepping stone into just growing the community. And so not only just being an influence for the young females, but maybe that young boy who doesn't have motivation to do anything. But I know when the young kids come out to Formula Drift, it's a lifetime experience that most people don't get to experience ever.
Yeah.
I take the time to go on the track walks because I want them to remember it like it was their best weekend ever. And so I really value that part of my career.
That's awesome. Well, I know you're meant to be here, and I love that you're a good influence. There is so much bad out there, and to have someone that has kind of that moral code and moral compass and the goals and desires, it is a major impact on, as you said, not just young women, but the young men as well, and what they can accomplish. And hopefully that we can shift the narrative a little bit in the world of having people that are a little bit nicer, and realize that you can be real, and you can be good, and you can still have a major impact on things. So Amanda, we're gonna wrap up. We appreciate your time, but is there anything that you'd like to say just here at the end to wrap it up, maybe that we missed, or something we should have been aware of?
I think we covered it.
Okay.
You guys can find me on social media at Amanda.Sorenson12 on Instagram and Amanda_Sorensen on TikTok. And I appreciate you guys for highlighting my story and allowing me to be on the channel. So I'm super excited.
Well, we appreciate you, and we'll make sure and include your social media links so that they can see those and find them easier. And we just appreciate your time. It's been a great experience. I know we've met with you one time before, and it was a great experience. So we're looking forward to seeing you continue to grow, and we're going to be there when you hit that pro level and that podium. So
Let's go.
Thank you again.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.